Welcome back to the Gridiron Expert. We have finished our game-by-game predictions for every single Power 5 team, and now it is time to head over to the Group of 5, kicking things off with our Sun Belt Conference football predictions. And you know, guys, the Sun Belt has quickly become one of the more premier leagues in the entire Group of 5. It's extremely competitive, extremely fun, obviously showing that Fun Belt nickname will continuously hold true. Before we get to our predictions, though, for every single Sun Belt Conference team, we want to thank you for watching us here at the Gridiron Expert on YouTube. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share our videos, and check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com. Again, guys, if you want some of the best college football and NFL spread picks in the country, this is the place for you. If you want a guaranteed winning record, guaranteed winnings right in your pocket, and the best customer service that any handicapper in the country can give you, this is the place for you. Why? Because we have beat out over 80% of the national handicappers each of the last 5 years, and we can guarantee we'll do it again. So go sign up for those expert picks down in the description below. Again, season starts in less than 2 weeks. Check out our Patreon account as well for exclusive college football content year-round. Do not want to miss out on that. Become a member of our Patreon Wall of Fame. And of course, send us some gear. Our Gridiron Nation, guys, the GE Nation continues to grow. We've got some Liberty gear and some Virginia gear, courtesy of our man, Wahoo Brad. We've got a great Georgia Tech helmet up there now, courtesy of our man, Bill Barnett. It continues to grow. We continue to add more. We'd love to continuously get more teams and more conference representations. No Sunbelt gear in our background. If you want to, check it out. That mailing address down in the description below and get your team represented in every single video. So let's take a look at the Sunbelt. Pull up our Sunbelt graphic. And here we go. It's going to be a fun year in the Fun Belt. We'll start over in the West Division, where we actually have a repeat champion. We have the Troy Trojans winning the tiebreaker over South Alabama to win the Sun Belt West once again. And you know, it's going to be a tough battle, guys. It really is. Troy won the Sun Belt Conference as a whole last year. They're riding a 10-game winning streak entering 2023. Started the year 2-2, then won 10 straight games to finish the year at 12-2 last year. And they've got a lot of guys coming back. You know, Gunnar Watson returns at quarterback. Kamani Vidal returns at running back. 6 starters are back on the defensive side of the ball after allowing to 17.1 points per game. Yes, they do have a tough schedule. They have to go to Kansas State. They host a good Western Kentucky team. They have to go to Army, but they host South Alabama. That game could very well determine who wins the Sun Belt Conference. Right now, we're giving the edge to Troy. Home field advantage playing a key role, that defense playing a big role, slowing down the electric offense of Kane Womack's Jaguars at South Alabama. This was a team that was phenomenal last year, won 10 games, 10-3 in 2022, averaged 31.2 points per game. Carter Bradley returns this year. LaDamian Webb returns this year. 18 starters as a whole return. I mean, I would not be shocked in the slightest if South Alabama wins the West. Really, it is a 2-team race in the Western Division between Troy and South Alabama. This is a very, very good team, guys, but I will say that the schedule is tough. They have to go to Tulane. They have to go to Oklahoma State. They have to go to James Madison. Obviously, they have to go to Troy. So a lot of tough road games there where they might not be able to match that 10-win total they had last year just due to the difficultness of the non-conference. But a Western crown is well within their reach. Another successful winning season well within their reach. Kane Womack going to be a hot commodity in terms of a Power 5 job possibly at the end of the 2023 season. The Jaguars are certainly a force to be reckoned with in the Sun Belt this year, no doubt about it. We'll have arguably the best offense within the conference. Southern Miss right below them at 6-6, 5-3 in conference play. So despite 2 games off of the overall record, Southern Miss just 1 game behind both Troy and South Alabama in terms of conference play. This is a solid Golden Eagles squad, right? 9 starters back on offense, 6 starters back on defense. A team that had a winning record last year, going 7-6. Will Hall slowly starting to put things together in Hattiesburg. They have one of the better running backs, I would almost say, in the country, but he's not talked about nearly enough. Frank Gore Jr., obviously the son of the legendary Frank Gore, has an illustrious NFL career. But Frank Gore Jr. returns. Holman Edwards is in at quarterback from Houston. Obviously, quarterback the last few years at Southern Miss has kind of been the issue for them. Edwards is going to be a guy that should come in, bring them some stability. Arguably the best quarterback play that the Eagles are going to have over the last few years. Schedule is tough, though. At Florida State, they play Tulane. They go to Mississippi State. They go to South Alabama. They go to App State. So a lot of very difficult games for Southern Miss this year. But regardless, I do believe they will get back to the postseason at 6-6 and are an upset or 2 away from maybe playing for a Sun Belt West title. That's how good they're going to be in conference play. Louisiana right behind them, 6-6, 3-5 in conference. This is a team that went 6-7 last year, but should find themselves back in a bowl game. We knew that they were going to take a step back after those very successful seasons under Billy Napier. We knew it was about time for them to take a little bit of a step back in 2022. That's exactly what they did, but still found a way to make the postseason. We think they do it again this year. Ben Wooldridge is back at quarterback, so they have a veteran under center. They do lose 6 of their top 7 tacklers, though, only 3 starters back defensively. And when you look at their schedule and you realize that they have to play at Troy, at South Alabama, it's going to be a little bit of a rough go-round for the Raging Cajuns, or for the Cajuns, I should say. But regardless, this is a Louisiana team that should be good enough to go to the postseason once again, no doubt about it. That's going to be it for bowl teams in the Sun Belt West. Arkansas State, Texas State, and Louisiana Monroe all fall short in our eyes of the postseason. The Red Wolves coming in at 5-7, 3-5 in conference play as well. This is a big year for Butch Jones. A huge year for him. He has to get Arkansas State to the postseason this year. I feel like if he doesn't, he might be out of a job in Jonesboro. The question for A-State right now is, who's their quarterback going to be? They are struggling mightily at the quarterback position, kind of similar to Southern Miss. Could be J.T. Shrout, the transfer from Tennessee and then Colorado. Could be Jackson Daly. But this is a Red Wolves program that was pretty solid under Blake Anderson for years and years and years, but is now just 5-19 the last 2 years. Butch Jones done a phenomenal job of improving that offensive line, certainly an improved defense as a whole. And I really think they're about one upset win away, maybe over Memphis, of making the postseason. I think they're going to improve by that much, but ultimately I think the Red Wolves fall just short. 5-7 for them, and maybe the end of the Butch Jones era. Texas State, they've got a new coach, G.J. Kine, in from Incarnate Word. Obviously, a big get for them in terms of an offensive mind, and that's what you need at Texas State. Jake Spavital didn't really work out for them. They're hoping something different here with Kine. But you look at Texas State, this is not your ordinary rebuilding project, right? Yes, we have them at 3-9, 1-7. It's going to take a while, but this is a team that has 2, not 1, but 2 former SEC quarterbacks they added through the transfer portal. They've got Malik Hornsby coming in and TJ Finley, both coming in, battling for the job at quarterback. This is a Texas State team that maybe a little bit more competitive than people think or realize, but the Bobcats ultimately going through another rough patch at 3-9. And Louisiana Monroe, the Warhawks, I love Bowden, right? I love Terry Bowden. He's fantastic. But 4-8 last year to 2-10, some would say it's a major step back. Yes, but that's to be expected when you lose your quarterback, when you lose your top 3 rushers, when you lose 5 of your top 7 pass catchers. You draw App State and Georgia Southern out of the East, along with Army, Texas A&M, and Ole Miss in the non-conference. I mean, Louisiana Monroe loses so much production, has a super difficult schedule. It's just going to be a rough go-around for them this year. This is not a team that I think can match last year's win total or flirt with the bowl game or anything like that. Bowden's a phenomenal coach. He's a great guy. He's trying to do everything he can to rebuild this program, make them more competitive. And I do think the Warhawks are competitive in a good amount of their games, but not enough to get it in the win column. Competitive, but they lose competitively. Louisiana Monroe, the last team in the West, at 2-10. Over in the East, App State coming in at 9-3. This is the division that's going to be more competitive than anything else in the Sun Belt, right? App State, Coastal Carolina, James Madison, Marshall, even Georgia Southern, all could win the Sun Belt East. I will fully back that this is a wide open division, that any of those teams could find a way to win the division. We have App State winning it. 9-3, 7-1 in conference play, and that sounds kind of crazy considering that the Mountaineers went just 6-6 last year. Didn't even make a bowl game. They beat Texas A&M, they shocked the college football world, and then don't even make a bowl game, right? Well, I think they get there this year. Ryan Berger is in at quarterback, a guy that has a little bit more ability. Finally, a guy that, a little bit unproven at the quarterback position for App State, but a guy that has a lot of talent, a lot of upside. I think it's going to really benefit what the Mountaineers are trying to do offensively, especially with Nate Noel back at running back and their top 4 pass catchers returning. They have a loaded secondary on the defensive side of the ball and a very favorable schedule that includes home games against Coastal Carolina and Marshall. App State should get back to their winning ways, and we do have them winning the division. Coastal Carolina right behind them, owning the tiebreaker over James Madison, as both come in at 8-4, 5-3 overall. The Chanticleers dealing with a new coach in Tim Beck, the new head coach coming in to replace Jamie Chadwell. He does not inherit a bad team. This is not your typical rebuild new coach project here. Grayson McCall returns as one of the better quarterbacks in the country. C.J. Beasley returns. Reese White returns. Their top 3 pass catchers return. 6 of their top 7 tacklers return. 8 starters back on offense, 6 back on defense. Last year, a bit disappointing, 9-4 after back-to-back 11-win seasons. They took a minor step back. I think they take another minor step back this year because this is a new coach. They're dealing with new schemes, and they're dealing with a difficult schedule that includes every team in the East, as we mentioned, including a road game at App State. That could be the game that determines who wins the East Division, no doubt about it, but we do ultimately believe that App State gets the win there. James Madison at 8-4, 5-3. As we mentioned, they lose, Todd Cintio. They lose Percy Ajayi-Obase at running back. They lose Chris Thornton, their 1,000-yard receiver. They lose a lot offensively, and that's going to be a bit of a growing pain, I think, for the Dukes. But they're going to pride themselves on their defense this year. 7 starters back defensively after allowing just 20.9 points per game, allowing just 79 rushing yards per game. This is a good James Madison team. I have a lot of faith in Kurt Cignetti to continue to get the best out of this Dukes program. They do have a tough schedule at App State, at South Alabama, at Coastal, at NC State. So, James Madison's going to have to find a way to beat up on those lesser opponents in the Sun Belt. Can't afford any upsets if they're going to try to contend for a division crown. We think they have a tie for second, but regardless, another winning season after a very successful first year in the Sun Belt in 2022. Marshall comes in at 4th, 7-5, 5-3. A little bit of a step back for the Thundering Herd as well, 9-4 in 2022, but they are entering the season on a 5-game win streak. They beat Notre Dame last year, shocked the country, kind of went through a couple slumps. They weren't able to continue that success, but ended up winning their last 5 games, including their bowl game over UConn to clinch a 9-win season. Only 4 starters are back on defense, so that strong defense from last year is bound to take a little bit of a step back. But 9 starters are back on offense, including Cam Fancher and Rasheen Ali at running back. It's huge for the Thundering Herd, guys. This is a good Marshall team that is going to once again have a winning season and go to a solid bowl game under Charles Hoff. So a solid year for the Thundering Herd. Georgia Southern in at 6-6, 4-4, the last Sun Belt team that we do have going bowling here, at least out of the East. I got to give Clay Helton a lot of credit. Comes in year 1, completely changes the Georgia Southern offense. They end up beating Nebraska in a massive upset, end up getting Scott Frost fired, and clinched a bowl berth before falling to Buffalo to finish the year at 6-7. But this year, the Eagles are no slouch. We have them at 6-6. They bring in Davis Brin from Tulsa, so a proven quarterback, a solid quarterback with Tulsa. Jalen White returns at running back. Their top 2 pass catchers do return. This is a Georgia Southern team that offensively is going to be really, really stout, really hard to beat. The defense, though, is a major concern. 4 starters back on defense, gave up 488 yards per game last year. They've got to improve on that side of the ball. That's going to be the reason that the Eagles don't flirt with a division crown, don't maybe win 7, 8, 9 games, anything like that. But this is, no doubt in my eyes, a bowl team. And Clay Helton doing a phenomenal job with Georgia Southern. Georgia State right behind them, 5-7, just missing out. I love Sean Elliott and I love Darren Granger. That is a dangerous combination there. Elliott's got that great passion and energy that he brings every single week. Granger's got that phenomenal dual threat capability, leading an offense that averaged 214 rushing yards per game. The Panthers won't struggle offensively. They're not going to struggle there. Kind of like Georgia Southern, it's their defense that's concerning me. Defense concerns me. Only 5 starters back. They were terrible defensively last year. They do return 6 of their top 8 tacklers. That's huge for them. Getting 6 of their top 8 is big, but I ultimately think the Panthers fall just short. They're going to be one upset win away from getting to bowl eligibility, but they can't find it. They finished 5-7, and Old Dominion at 3-9. Only 7 starters are back this year. This is a bad Monarchs team, guys. They went 3-9 last year. Not a lot of talent returning this year. A lot of transfers out of the program. They have to go to Virginia Tech. They play Wake Forest. They have to go to Marshall, to James Madison, to Liberty. And that's just a handful of the games that the Monarchs are going to face. They'll be able to manage a couple of victories in conference play, just like they did last year, but not nearly enough to go bowling, as we believe they finish in the bottom, the cellar of the Sun Belt East. So that means, guys, that our Sun Belt championship is Troy at Appalachian State. This is not going to be a neutral site game, as we know. App State, the better overall record, the better conference record. So Troy will travel to App State for the Sun Belt championship game. And it's kind of an interesting game here. App State, for years, kind of the perennial favorite in the Sun Belt Conference. Troy just kind of now rising up through the ranks under John Summerall. Surprised a lot of people last year, that 12-win season, winning the Sun Belt. So the reigning champs versus the typical reigning champs. Who's it going to be? Who wins the Sun Belt in 2023? We believe it will be the Appalachian State Mountaineers. App State finds themselves back on top of the Sun Belt. They had that home field advantage, which is huge in this game. The offense, to me, actually a little bit better than Troy this year. They're going to be dangerous on the ground, dangerous run game, and I truly believe that Ryan Burger's only going to get better and better as the year goes on, especially with their top 4 pass catchers back. A little bit more of a balanced offense for App State than we saw last year. The defense should get better as the year goes on. At secondary, as we mentioned, extremely dangerous. Troy, a solid team, no doubt about it. This is going to be a tight conference championship game, but boom, not an easy place to play. They're going to get the win here. App State is, and the Mountaineers will clinch a 10-win season, another solid bowl berth, and will conclude another phenomenal year in the Sun Belt, or again, as I like to say, the Fun Belt, because that's exactly what it will be in 2023. So guys, there you have it, your Sun Belt Conference predictions for 2023, kicking off our Group of 5 predictions. Our next conference will be, of course, tomorrow. We'll stay tuned to find out who that is. We're going to go through every single team all the way from now till Friday, and then next week, the college football season kicks off. We are just about a little under 2 weeks away from the start of the season. You do not want to miss out on the content we have the rest of this week. Don't want to miss out on the regular season content. And make sure you don't miss out on that. Make sure to continue to like, comment, subscribe, share the videos. Check out everything down in the description below, including our expert picks over on our website, thegridironexpert.com, our Patreon account for exclusive college football content year-round, and our mailing address to send us some gear, whether it's any Sun Belt gear, whoever your team may be, send it to us, that mailing address, so we can represent them in every single video. And once again, guys, as always, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time right here on The Gridiron Expert.
Yeah.